After I had my first boy, I went through postpartum depression. And then I stopped painting for like 3 years. It was the darkest period of my life.
I hear the word postpartum, postpartum, postpartum. What does that mean?
If I could say it in one word, it would be pure darkness. It's lonely, nobody gets you. And when you go and ask other moms, they'll tell you you'll get over it. This is how it is. Nobody tells you that you're not okay. Then a panic attack started happening when I hear my kids crying. I would be driving and I would have to stop on the side of the road, just calm down. Okay, kids are crying, it's okay. Then when that happened, I'm not safe anymore.
What makes you pick up your pencil? Because you had left it for 3 years.
Because I wanted to be myself again. What happens when you enter that flow state? Your frontal lobe shuts down, so your overthinking part calms down. I get it now, like why people don't let their kids go to art programs, because everywhere you go in the art industry, it's just rainbow. What I went through when I was in the art program, there was a class that I had to take. Naked model would just sit and would have to draw them. I said, I can't take that class. I will not take it. He would tell me, you have to take it. It's part of the curriculum. And until I got a paper from the measurement. Finally, after like a year and a half of like going back and forth, and they let me graduate.
Would you say that you found Marwa?
So, I'm using words. I'm trying not to get emotional because
Art therapy is something that I haven't really heard of or was familiar with at all prior to being introduced to Marwa's line of work, which is that it's art therapy. And I won't get to details of it. I'll let Marwa explain it. But basically, Marwa was going through a very tough time in her life, postpartum depression, which if you're a woman and you've had kids before, you might be able to relate to what she said about postpartum depression and what she went through and the darkness that she felt in her life. And art was her way of breaking out of it. It's very strange to see how different types of people break through their darkness in different ways. This was a new way to me. We also talk about how Muslims are hesitant to put their kids through these art programs because of how they're infiltrated by homosexuality. And we recall our experiences both at Wayne State University where that happened to both of us. So stay tuned. This is different. I'm 100% sure you're going to learn something new from this episode. Comment, let me know what you think about all of this. Like this video if you enjoy what you hear. Subscribe if you haven't yet. And with that being said, let's get the show started.
Welcome aboard Middle East Airlines.
والمتوجهة إلى
طيران الشرق الأوسط يرحب
مدينة القدس العربية.
How are you? Alhamdulillah, I'm very good. Thank you for coming. Marwa, I usually start this off with self-introduction. The question I usually ask, or I would have asked you, was if you look in the mirror, who would you see? But for you, I'm going to do it a little differently. For people that don't know, we're going to get into this conversation. You do art therapy. Okay? So the way I'm going to ask you to describe yourself, if I give you a blank canvas and I say, draw who Marwa is, what would that drawing consist of?
wow. Okay, I didn't expect that question. Well, that's gonna take me a minute.
That's okay. We have time.
Well, I would draw a little girl, okay, with ponytails, flowers, and I would include Jawad and Diya in there.
Your two boys?
And yeah, and that's it.
That's it?
Yeah.
So we have a girl, little girl,
Mm-hmm.
ponytails,
Mm-hmm.
flowers,
Mm-hmm.
and your boys.
Yes.
Can you break that down for me?
The child in me, and then my children.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the little girl represents you,
Me.
your youthful nature.
Yeah, I always see myself as a little girl, like that never grew up, but I'm still a woman. Yeah, so that little girl is me, and you'll see it often in my artwork.
Why the flowers?
I love flowers.
Why the ponytail?
They're cute.
Okay. Okay. So, Marwa, how did you end up here in America? The podcast is called Not From Here because we're both not from here. And how did Marwa end up here?
Well, in 2017, after the war of 2006, my dad decided to bring us here.
2007?
Yeah.
Okay.
Did I say 2017?
17.
Sorry.
It's okay.
Yeah, 2007. My dad decided to bring us here. He lived here for his entire life, like from the 80s, early 80s up until now. And then he decided to bring us here in 2007 after the war of 2006. And we lost our home. We went through a lot. So we ended up coming here in 2007.
How old were you?
13.
So you were pretty aware during the war.
Yeah.
What do you remember?
So
What stands out to you?
I remember a lot. What stands out to me is that running from house to another.
Okay.
Like, we stayed in the village for about 19 days. It was 33 days of war, okay? The 19 days we stayed in the Daya, under the bombs, under the missiles. We hear, we see, and like everything was, we lived in a war zone, basically. And what I remember the most is just running from house to another in the middle of the night.
You know, 13 is such a like pivotal age because I feel like those are the years where you start really like remember, like that's when you really become mature. And that's like, if you ask me from where do you start remembering like really what happened, it's those ages.
Yeah.
You know, so that experience for you at that age should have left like a lasting mark.
It did.
Up till now?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
In what way?
And like right now, when the recent war started last year, I started living everything over. And my body didn't know the difference between here or there. I was living the fear constantly. And it took me about a month and a half just to get out of that state. And I'm not in a war zone. I'm safe. I'm here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Did that happen before?
No. Well, we didn't live a war after that.
Right.
When we first moved here, the sound of the airplane sounds like the warplane. So it took me about a month to adjust that this is not a warplane. It's just an airplane. But now, like when the war started, it happened to me again. It took me a month and a half to just get over it.
So this is actual trauma.
Oh yeah, it is. It is. When I used to hear the sound of the missile, I used to like duck, just hide under the table, find a corner in the house, just to hide.
Isn't it crazy that most people that live in this country won't be able to understand that feeling?
Yeah.
You know? Like even some of our people that live here, that maybe were born here or were just here this entire time, they won't understand the feeling of being inside of a like active war zone.
Right. Yeah, I understand. Like people don't understand it. When I try to explain it to them, like it feels different to us, and nobody gets it.
It's very difficult.
Yeah.
Because where do you see these scenes? You see them in movies or see them on TV.
You don't live them.
Yeah. It doesn't feels like something tangible.
Yeah.
You know, so when you tell a person like, no, we used to duck missiles, like we left from house to a house because they were bombing our house, it kind of sounds something out of a movie in a way.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah, but you being there and then being able to adapt to a completely new environment is something that most people, I can say, you can safely say most people will never know how that feels.
Yeah.
Do you talk about those experiences with your little boys?
A kid, always.
Really?
They know it by heart by now. Yani. When the war started, the Gaza war, I started telling them how I lived through the war, and they know every little detail now. And I made sure to embed that. What is it called? الخصلة. إنه نحن who is our enemy.
Okay.
I went through wars. That's why we're different. We approach things differently. We have different values than other people. So yeah, I always tell them about the war that we survived.
Because Marwa, I feel like a lot of people would be like, okay, I lived through war, I got out of it, alhamdulillah, I'm doing well. Let me not bring it up to my children and let them just go about their lives. Inshallah, they'll never have to experience that firsthand like I did. So maybe I shouldn't tell them about it.
Who's gonna save the world?
Mm.
If we don't tell our kids about the past wars that had happened in the past, who's gonna change what's gonna happen next? They're gonna be the next heroes. Well, I'm raising heroes. I'm raising men that will fight for justice. They need to know what their mom went through, what their grandfather went through. I don't know, like my I don't know if I should say this or not. You can cut it. But Baba came بالمعتقل at some point in his life before he came here. So I told them that. They know that Baba came بالمعتقل, their grandfather. And you can cut that out. But I need them to know everything. So they can fight for justice when they grow up. And it's in them right now. Right now, every artwork that Jawad does, there's Palestine in there. Alam Palestine. Dia always talks about Palestine. He doesn't go out without his kufiyya. Like, and they're 5 and 6. So imagine when they grow up.
Mm.
Yeah.
No, definitely those are values that should be implemented at a young age. I was just curious because you work in the therapy field.
Yeah.
So you know the effects of trauma and what it could lead to. So that's why I just kind of wanted your take on it. How, I was telling you this before we started. I never ever heard of art therapy. Like, when I hear art therapy, I remember a psych class that we took, and I can't remember what they're called, but they were visuals that they would show us. And I'm not sure if Freud was the one that did this. It could be another psychologist. And depending on how you interpreted those images, that would say about your or your psychological state at that point. So that's what I thought art therapy was. And then when I dig deep into it was a completely different thing. It's you're literally communicating your thoughts through art.
That's the beauty of it.
And at first glance, I wouldn't think that would be effective, because I think that if we just sit and have a conversation, like if I go to a therapist, traditional therapist, and have a conversation, maybe that would be the way where I let out the trauma, I talk about my experiences. But scribbling on a piece of paper, and that's how I perceived it at first, wouldn't really do that for me. So how did you even get introduced to it?
Art therapy. Well, after I had my first boy, I went through postpartum depression. And I was an artist. I had my degree in art, and I was already an artist. So I had my first boy, and I had postpartum depression. And I stopped, and I had my second boy after Jawad, they're 14 months apart. And then I stopped painting for 3 years. And during that 3 years, it was the darkest period of my life. And the only thing that saved me and got me out of the darkness is art. And I started looking more about art therapy. And I've heard of it before at that time. And I wanted to know more about it because art now is saving me. I want to see, is it really the art that saved me or the therapy? Because I at that time I was going into therapy too. So I learned more about art therapy, and it's powerful. It impacted my mentality as well. I painted depression. I painted my kids. I painted my emotions without even knowing that this, the process that is what's healing me. And I still have the paintings at my studio. So when I learned more about it, I decided to get into the program and get my degree. So I applied at Wayne State. I applied to the graduate program and I got accepted in art therapy. I took 2 semesters of art therapy and then they switched to in-person instead of online because I was taking the online classes. And then when it switched to in-person, I had to make a choice, either like sacrifice my time with my kids or put the degree on hold for a while until my kids get older and then I can continue. So I chose to stay with my kids at home.
And you didn't go for the degree?
I did not, but I got the art therapy practitioner certificate. So
Okay.
I'm an art therapy practitioner, not an art therapist.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a difference.
Okay.
Yeah.
Would you still go for that art therapist?
I will, definitely, inshallah.
Okay.
Inshallah, that's on
Good.
my to-do list.
Okay. So, first off, so originally you just went to Wayne State for get your arts degree.
Art, yeah.
Okay. And then you followed that up in your master's program.
Yeah.
Do you find any Muslims or Arab in that program or
The art or the art therapy?
art therapy?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, there were a couple.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it is something that is like it's sought after in our
Yeah.
community.
Yeah.
So it's not like something that you don't see.
It's rare. I
Why
would
don't
say.
we hear about art therapy?
It's not popular yet.
Okay.
It's not popular. It's there. It's there in like hospitals, well, in jails, and like centers that need that type of activities or psychotherapy. But it's not popular between the communities, like not centers,
Mm.
if I could say.
One thing before we like dive into art therapy, I wanted to ask you about. You said after your first child, you got postpartum depression. How does that look like? Because I hear the word postpartum, but what does that mean in terms of like real life?
Well, if I could say it in one word, it would be pure darkness. You would just survive to keep the kids alive. That's it. It was just pure darkness. It's lonely. Nobody gets you. Nobody gets the darkness within you. And like you're not sleeping, you're not eating well, you have to take care of kids and the house and all that. And when you go and ask other moms, they'll tell you you'll get over it. This is how it is. Nobody tells you that you're not okay. It's not okay to feel that way. Well, moms feels that baby. Moms feel the baby blues. Okay, it happens. It's just normal. But the depression, the darkness, like when I remember the first 3 years, it's just pure black. Like, and the only thing that saved me is art. So that's why I do what I do now. And the first reason why I opened my studio and I have that. So, man, I'm losing words. Sorry.
You're okay.
I'm trying not to get emotional because when I remember my the first year of motherhood, it's just.
So it's not normal for a mother to feel that?
It's normal the first month maybe, but then after that.
Not really? So
No.
a mom shouldn't feel that after.
Darkness? No.
Yeah?
She could feel tired, sad, exhausted, sleepy.
So where does that darkness come from is what I'm not understanding.
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know where it comes from. It's just depression. It's just the chemical imbalance in the brain. It's just the exhaustion, the pressure, the new life. And Anna, in 2017, I got married. I got pregnant. I graduated, and I had my first boy. So it's just normal for me to fall into depression because all 4 major things, and people can graduate and get married in the same year, but not get pregnant, have a baby, and graduate, and like have all these responsibilities thrown at me, and it was hard for me to adjust. يعني أنا كنت مدللة ببيت أهلي.
Yeah.
Like, and now I'm a housewife. I don't know how to cook. I don't know how to do laundry. I didn't know how to do all of this stuff, and laundry was shocking to me. It never
Really?
ends. It never ends.
No, it was shocking.
It was shocking. Yes, it was shocking. Like, okay, now what? Now do it all over again. And then the silliest stuff were hard for me because I wasn't used to it. And in being a mom at the same time, taking care of a baby and then trying to learn how to cook, it was hard. And then I got pregnant again, and I didn't recover from the first baby. I didn't get the chance to just bond with Jawad. And then I had Dia,
How far are they apart?
14 months. So
Okay.
Jawad was 5 months when I got pregnant with
Okay.
Dia. So it was hard. And it impacted Jawad كمان. When I had Dia, Jawad stopped talking. Like, because it was the peak of his need for his mom. And like Dia came and took me away from him. So we had a lot of, what is it? I don't know what's the word, but it was a tough time for the family.
A lot of pressure.
A lot of pressure, and it was really tough time for all of us. Having two babies, like not two babies. Jawad was a toddler, and then Dia was a baby, but they were still. I have to change 2 diapers.
They're still babies.
Yeah, 2 different naps. I have to feed both of them, and it's harder than having twins because twins, خلص مع بعض.
Yeah. You just
بس-
double.
إيه.
You do everything in
بس كل
doubles.
واحد like different milestones. So I'm still waiting for them to catch up. Pardon.
Yeah.
They didn't catch up. So it was hard, and I think that's why I got into postpartum depression, and it lasted for 3 years. 3 years of postpartum depression, that's a long time. And the thing is, I didn't know it was postpartum depression. I thought this is what motherhood was, and it wasn't.
Do you kind of start regretting having kids or like feeling some type of way? Because the thing is, when something lasts for 3 years, like after the second year, like after, say, call it 17, 18 months after you're in this constant state, you don't feel like this state is going to change. You're going to be like, this is just how my life is.
That's what I thought. But then I started having panic attacks. Like, it impacted my life. I couldn't function. Anxiety, like, I couldn't function. I would just lay on the floor in the kitchen and just trying to just get to my senses again. And okay, I have kids, I have to get up. Then panic attacks started happening when I hear my kids crying. I would be driving and I would have to stop on the side of the road, just calm down. Okay, the kids are crying, it's okay. Then when that happened, like I'm not safe anymore. So I had to seek help from the doctor and then the therapist.
What makes you pick up your pencil or your brush?
Emotions.
Because you had left it for 3 years.
Oh, for the first time?
Yeah.
Because I wanted to be myself again. So here's the thing. Nobody prepares you for parenthood, okay? Nobody tells you that it's going to be rough. You're going to lose who you are, and then you're going to become a new person. Nobody had told me that. So I lost who I was. For that 3 years, I was like a walking zombie. I was a ghost. I was no one. I was just a mother. Not no one, I'm sorry. I was just a mother for Jawad and Dia. And my entire job was to make sure they survive. They're okay. They're fed. They're taken care of. But Anna, I didn't take care of me. So during those 3 years, I lost who I was. So I wanted to get to know myself again. So I wanted to search for Marwa. Marwa 3 years ago. And that's why I tried to paint. And the first time I tried to paint, I couldn't.
What does that mean?
يعني I thought I had lost my skills because I hadn't painted for 3 years. And I started crying. I blamed my husband for it. No, I can't paint anymore because of you. And I just wanted to blame someone. And then I insisted on trying again. I wanted to paint again. I want to find myself again. And then, the first painting I tried to do was a portrait of Dia, and it didn't look good at all. And I'm usually good at portraits. So then the second time I tried, I just painted my emotions. I just I let it happen freely. Like, I just painted, and the painting that came out was a very miserable, sad face, and it was depression. I'll send you the picture later so you can see it. When you look at it, you'll see depression.
I'll add it in the episode so people
Yeah.
can see it as you're speaking about it.
Yeah, it's pure depression. And when you look at it, it's just depression. And I still, when I look at it now, I feel like I want to cry.
Really?
Yeah. It is that powerful. And then I continued painting and painting and painting. Yeah.
Do you look at that painting often?
No, I put it away. I don't even put it on display at the studio. It's not on the wall.
But you still have it.
I have it, yeah.
Why didn't you get rid of it?
It's part of my portfolio. It's just, and it's a documented painting of my feelings, so I gotta keep it.
You know what's crazy is that I'm just wondering if all mothers lose themselves after they get children, and then this process that you're describing of figuring out who you were before you got kids is the same feeling that all mothers feel.
I think they do. I think every mother and father, like it's a parent thing, not only mothers. Maybe it's harder on mothers.
Because they're the caregivers,
Yeah.
as like main primary caregivers.
Yeah, but I think every single parent go through this. Because now you're not only one, now you're two. Like me, when I go out with my kids, I'm not one person getting out of the car. I'm three, me and Jawad and Diyal. So it's just, you're attached to them. They're part of you.
Would you say that you found Marwa?
Yes.
You did?
Eventually.
Okay.
Eventually.
How long did that process take you?
I don't remember, but it's still going. It's still going. It's getting to know yourself and like healing and growing. It's a lifelong process.
Why would someone go into art therapy rather than going to the traditional therapist?
That's a tough question. Why would someone go to art therapy? Usually, therapists introduce art therapy to the clients, but why would someone choose an art therapist, not a psychotherapist, for example? Because of the art element in there, because they want to express themselves through art, not through talk. Maybe they have emotions that cannot be expressed through words, and they can draw it. Maybe.
What I found was that, like you said, some people found it very hard talking to a therapist and speaking, like bringing those emotions to words. So it was kind of easier for them to paint or
With
draw
color. Yeah.
how they felt with colors. Because also when I hear art therapy, I'm like, okay, so I need to know how to draw at
Yeah.
least, or I
Yeah.
need some sort of skill.
Mm.
Because if I suck at drawing, I'm not going to be able to do art therapy. But it turns out that wasn't the case.
No.
But when you do that art therapy, when you let out those emotions through art, it kind of becomes easier for you to speak about them. So do you find that when people do art, they're able to speak to you
Yes.
more?
Definitely. They're able to point things out. And this is my feeling in my shoulders, let's say. Because like one of the exercises we do is the body scan. And you color your emotions inside your body. And then what do you feel in your shoulders, let's say? Why do you feel that way? Pressure. Who's pressuring you? What's pressuring you? So yeah, they're able to talk more about their emotions. And like what do they feel inside their body? The first time I did the art therapy workshop, people didn't know what it was. It was the first time ever in the community, not ever in the community, but in the community around me. It was the first time for them. So I put an art therapy workshop, I sign up, and I got 11 people joining me.
Not bad.
And yeah, for the first time. And they thought it was let's paint and have fun kind of thing. So when they came in, they were shocked because it wasn't like a painting session. It was like you gotta paint your emotions. We had the feeling wheel. They had to name like 6 emotions that they have, and they had to draw it. And like one of them couldn't name more than 3 emotions that she had. Another one kept crying the entire session, and she didn't want to continue because it was very overwhelming for her just to look inside and see what she's feeling. So people really don't really know what art therapy is. And it's surprising. It's surprising for me to see how powerful it is every single time I do it. Like seeing the results and how powerful it is on people, like how like they let their guards down and they feel their emotions on the inside. It's really powerful.
What are some results that you've seen that have like stood out to you?
Well, mostly people connect with their inner child. Like they become, I don't want to say like little kids, but they let their guards down. Remember at the beginning when you asked me what would I draw? I said the little Marwa, because I'm always connected with my inner child, and I'm always in that like حالة. Okay, Marwa is always in me, the little Marwa. So when people participate in art therapy, I see that little person in them. خلاص, they're not that, like they don't have that mask, not mask because they're adult, but they can be themselves at the end of the session because they had connected with their inner child.
Is there a specific example that stood out to you during your time?
I can't recall anything.
Like, I'm just curious about how it works. Like, how can it make me better?
You gotta try it. Yeah.
So if we were to do an exercise, what would you ask from me, for example?
It depends on the exercise. So if we're doing an exercise about, well, we talked about the body scan, we talked about the feeling wheel. Draw how you see yourself and how the world sees you. Okay? So, like, you draw, I'll give you a mask, okay? And in the front, you're going to draw how you see yourself. What would you draw?
I don't know.
Yeah, you got to think about it. And it's just, it's a process, like a 1 hour process of like thinking and feeling how you see yourself. And then when you're done, on the other side, how the world sees you.
Like, would it be like a face? And I would
No,
draw
just
on
a
the face?
paper.
Okay.
Like you could draw a face on it, or you could cut it as a mask, and then on the front you draw yourself, and then the back how the world sees you. So, what would you draw?
How I see myself?
Yeah.
I don't know if I'd draw. Maybe I'd color the mask.
You could. What elements would you put there?
What are the elements that I have?
Anything. I know there's no rules in this. Like anything.
I don't know. I feel like I'd color it blue.
Okay.
I would... I see a blue mask with, like, I'll probably add some white in there.
Okay.
In some places.
Like a sky?
Yeah, you can say clouds.
Okay.
That's what I'm thinking of. Maybe under the eyes I'd do black a little bit. And maybe a sun on the forehead.
Okay. Why the sun on the forehead?
I don't know.
Okay.
I feel like... I don't know. I just felt like it would look nice.
Okay. Okay. And then how the world sees you?
I would keep it standard. I would just keep it white. I don't know if I'll add too many elements to that one. I don't know if I don't care. Not that I don't care. I think everyone should care about their public image, but I don't. If I'm doing the right thing, I don't really put too much attention to how people look.
Okay.
You know, like I'm really focused on my intentions.
Okay.
If my intentions are good, and inshallah they are, I just let the results happen. It's
Okay.
kind of my way of explaining it.
Okay. But if you have to put one element on there or choose one color, you said white.
I would say white
Okay.
for it.
Okay.
Yeah, I can't think of anything else I would put other than white.
Okay.
I'll do maybe black just to do like highlight the details of the face. Like around my cheeks, I'll probably do black over here next to my nose, eyebrows, no eyes. Let's take a small break from this conversation. I just want to tell you about the sponsor of today's episode, Whoop. Whoop isn't just your typical fitness wearable. Whoop is the fitness wearable that has fundamentally changed the way I go about my day. If I were to categorize the pillars of my health, it would be the strain that I go through every single day, whether it's working out, work, whatever it is, my sleep, how well I slept, and how recovered my body is from what I went through the previous day. And Whoop really focuses on all those three. I know what to do to get better sleep at night. I know what to eat. I know what activities to do, whether it's meditation or hitting the sauna or breath work, that will allow me to recover my body better for the following day. Whoop lets me understand my body in a way that I really haven't before. And that has allowed me to take my performance in my everyday life, whether it was my training, to my work, to doing this podcast, to spending time with family and friends. It kind of gave me this blueprint of how to go about my life. And here's the deal. If you want to try out Whoop, see if it works for you, maybe you're hesitant, go to join.whoop.com/notfromhere. Because you're a listener of this podcast, Whoop is going to give you 1 month for free. It's a great way to support the podcast, but it's even a better way to take control of your health and well-being. Now, back to the episode.
Okay. So these exercises I do before I do them before I let the people do them. So when I did that specific exercise, I on the side that how people see me, just a beautiful face, but I a beautiful face with a beautiful crown, and then on the back how I see myself, it was like chains. I was chained, and you need to be able to open up your heart and see what's going on inside you, to be able to just let everything out. So the people see me as this beautiful woman, and then that wasn't the best, of course. And the way I saw myself as chained, like the whole back of it was chains. So, and I at that time I felt that way because my kids didn't go to school yet, and I wanted to do a lot, but I couldn't. And I always felt like Habibati, I love them so much, but they're so heavy to carry around and go shopping and go do whatever with them. So that's why I felt chained at that time. So,
Yeah. Okay. How would you interpret what I just told you?
You need to open up more because the drawing is not in front of me right now, but so if you the way you see yourself is beautiful, like متصالح مع نفسك, peaceful. The way people see you is just you really don't care, and there gotta be some elements in there.
Yeah. Maybe if it was in front of me and
Yeah.
I have the whole thing, I would
Yeah.
be able to do it more accurately.
Yeah, and you need to open your heart to it. Like you need to be relaxed and into it so you can get your stuff out. So
Do you feel like more people have like do you think that art therapy is for a specific type of people,
Yes.
or for everyone would be, or everyone should at least give it a try?
Well, it is for everyone, but I feel like specific people would be more interested in art therapy. People who are interested in expressive art, and people who are interested in art in general. يعني, if I go to my dad and tell him, let's try art therapy. When I first talked to my dad about art therapy, قال لي شو هيدا?
Especially like you said, you explained you guys were in war
Yeah.
zones, and now you come to America and you're like, Baba, I'm gonna
therapy.
help people.
يشخطروا بقول لي.
Yes, literally scratch around, draw around.
Yeah.
He wasn't really with the idea.
Not he wasn't with the idea. He just laughed at it
Mhm.
because it doesn't make sense to him, and it doesn't make sense to many people. Like, what's art therapy?
I think most people, if you tell them, if they don't know
Yeah.
the ins and outs of it, they would tell you, I'm not sure that would be a
Yeah.
proper career path to take.
Yeah. I love art therapy so much because it's so powerful, and I want people to experience it. Like I want people to come and experience it, to see the process of art therapy, how relaxing it is, and the stuff you can get out of yourself on that paper is just mind-blowing. I can't explain it to you enough, because I've witnessed it at my studio, and people experienced it, and whoever engaged in this process will stay in that creative mode up to 7 days. They want to draw every single day, which is also very therapeutic.
There's something about art in general, whether it be drawing or maybe photography, or there's just something that it puts you in this kind of like a trance where you stop thinking about what's happening outside of that moment, right? Because in that moment, all you have is that canvas.
Yeah.
Or if you're a photographer, all you have is that shutter, like when the camera clicks and what image you're going to get. So I feel like in that sense, it is very therapeutic.
Yeah.
Everyone needs a dose of art.
Right. What happens when you enter that flow state? Your frontal lobe shuts down. So your overthinking part just calms down, and you stop overthinking, and you just activate your right brain, and you engage in the beautiful process of creativity. So خلص انت you zone out هلا, you're in the flow state. Nothing can هيك triggers you or bothers you. You're just enjoying your time in the process. When I sit to paint, like I could sit for 3 hours without like just stopping. 3 hours of constant painting. That would be at night after the kids go to sleep, or during the day when they're at school. And like I could paint for 3 hours straight with non-stop. Yeah.
How interesting.
Yeah. And then the joy in the process is priceless.
So you get to a point where, okay, you went, now you're a certified art therapy practitioner, correct?
Yes.
What makes you take the step towards opening your own studio?
Well, I opened my own studio before I got the certificate.
Okay.
So, how I opened my own studio, well,
Because that was a big leap. I'm guessing. You're a house mom, you're a home mom, taking care of her kids, postpartum depression, all these things that you're trying to get over, trying to find yourself, and then you do something that is also very, very difficult, is going into the business world.
right.
Kind of, because opening up an art studio isn't just, okay, I'm just going to open up this art studio, I'm going to get all this material, I'm going to prep, and then everything's sunshine and rainbows. It's, no, I need to place to either buy or lease. This stuff costs money. I need people to sign up. If I'm going to do this, this has to be there has to be some sort of constant flow of money to keep this going. So you really went into the business world as well.
Yes. So how it started, I love that they put it that way, because some people at the beginning told me, يلا بتتسلى. as if like I'm going to have a cup of coffee at the
Yeah.
studio every day. Um, so how it started. So when I was going through the postpartum depression, I wanted to find a way just to get my life back. So the first thing I did after starting painting is to look for opportunities around me. I wanna go into art studios or art galleries. I wanna see what's going on in the art world. So the closest place was the Patiski Gallery at the Civic Center. So I went there and I found out that there's a volunteering opportunity there. So I said, why not? My kids now, I had put my kids in a daycare at that time because I needed that 3 hours break for myself. So I thought I could volunteer here just to be surrounded by art. So I volunteered there for 2 days only. And then I was introduced to a residency program and I applied for it and I was accepted. So it was in the City Hall art space. After that, I stayed with them for about 4 or 5 months. And then I found out there's another studio in there that is available for rent. And I said, why not? Like, try to take it. And I didn't think about it much. I asked about the price and I asked about everything I needed to know. And to me, it was affordable. I didn't have a plan. I didn't know what I was going to do with it. But an art studio sounded like a dream coming true to me. So I had talked to my husband about it, and he said, okay, if that makes you happy. I said, okay. So I talked to the landlord, and I rented it. Now what am I gonna do? So I started thinking, brainstorming, and because I was present on social media, people always reached out to me asking for art classes for kids. So that's the first thing that popped to my mind: kids art classes, because this is needed right now. Even though my goal was to have art therapy classes for moms specifically.
You wanted to tackle what you were going through.
Yes. But at that time, I felt like I'm not ready, and moms are not ready because they don't know what art therapy is. So I said, Kids Art Club. Let's start with that. And I built my website, and I got everything professionally done, so people can't take me seriously. Because at that time, I was scared. I was terrified. Like, what if I fail? So I had to do everything perfectly so I can be as professional as possible. And when I launched my website and said, hey, Kids Art Club is now open, you can sign up, I got 11 kids too. So I was really happy and excited. I was scared because I didn't know what I was going to teach. Because I know how to do art, but I'm not an art teacher.
Yeah.
But I had did my research, did my lesson plans, and I did a lot of research, and I invested so much in learning how to teach and getting materials that I could teach to the kids. And the first month was a huge success for me. I was over the moon. I was so proud of myself because I did something out of nothing. I did something that I didn't know I'm capable of, and just it kept on rolling.
People tend to get rewarded for the risks that they take. You know, there's this thing where you're always scared to start.
Yeah.
Right? And you're always going to be like, how am I supposed to know if this is something that I should keep on pursuing? But for some reason, there's always signs that you are doing the right thing. Keep going, keep doing what you're doing, you know? And it's kind of like that was that first month for you.
Yes. And in the feedback that I was getting from people, it was just what they were looking for. They were looking for that safe space for their kids. Because I'm a mom too. If I want to sign up my kids for something, I want to make sure who's the instructor, what's the environment like, and this kept on rolling. How I saw myself in people's eyes. Like now, what keeps me going, seeing myself in people's eyes. Not that how they see me matter, but the way they look up to me. And I say that in a very humble way, because I receive messages from women. I'm getting emotional now. Hold on.
It's okay.
Okay. I receive messages from women telling me how much I inspire them, and like and some of them send me messages that their daughters say, I want to be like Marwa when I grow up, and this is what keeps me going. And again, I say that in a very humble way because inspiring people inspire me too. Like إنه عن جد أنا عم أثر فيكم هيك.
Yeah.
إنه at some points بقول مين أنا, you know, إنه who am I for you to see me like that? I'm just doing the stuff that I love to do. يعني in the first place my intention wasn't, well, I want to change the world and I want to ما بعرف شو كون أنجح فنانة بالعالم. That wasn't my intention. My intention was to do the stuff that I love to do and help other moms get through the darkness through art. That's it. But subhanallah, Allah had a different plan for me, in a bigger plan. In what happened in my life in the past 3 years was like a plan that's bigger, way bigger than my plan. يعني أنا هالقد والله يعني مخططاته لإلي أنا كتير كبيرة إن أنا ما قادرة استوعبها sometimes. What?
Yeah.
Like it's just a roller coasters of blessings, tests and blessings. So you just gotta be aware of when that test will come, and just make sure you do the right thing and see what Allah wants you to do, and then once you pass it, you'll get rewarded in a magical way.
You know why I think it would, like, I would see how that is very special to you, because at one point you lacked that inspiration.
Yeah.
Like you didn't have anything to be inspired by. You described it as like pure darkness. You're in this hole, and for 3 years it kind of looked to you as if this was it. And then a few years later, people are telling you, hey Marwa, you inspire me. And it's just like, how the hell does my life change from me not being able to get inspired at all and being in this darkness to now these random people telling me that, hey Marwa, you inspire me, I want to be like you.
Yeah. Alhamdulillah. يعني أنا I always say إنه يا رب استخدمني ولا تستبدلني. You know what that means?
Use me
and don't replace me.
Yeah. From the way you're speaking, you're someone that talks to God, that
Yes.
asks him for things. And I'm just curious that first, if that's the case, during those 3 periods, how were you looking up to him? And during that time of the small successes that you were having that were pushing you to keep going, also how were you looking up to him?
I lost connection with God.
Mm.
لأنه you don't have time to pray. Like when you're a mom, not you're a mom. When a mom is taking care of her kids, constantly, no breaks, no time to eat. How would you have time to pray? Like, just realistically speaking, you just do your prayer, but ديون كلهم سوا.
Really, that's the mentality.
ما فيك. It's not يعني mothers will understand.
You know, it's not weird, because recently I've heard this more than once in different, like I would hear different people say that, yeah, mothers really don't have time to pray.
Don't.
And it boggles my mind, because it's maybe if you want to do it fast, it's 5 minutes and you're done. And it's crazy to me that mothers lose that as well.
Yeah, هلا if you want to make the time for
Of
it,
course.
you could. But I told you there's so much responsibilities. You know, I was with 2 kids, not one, with all the responsibilities that I had and the mental pressure. You don't have that relaxation to pray. Yeah, and prayer was a pressure too. like oh بعدني ما صليت, and I get anxious and then I get angry and I get mad, and then at the end of the day بقضيهم كلهم سوا. يعني you don't have time to pray. حتى the first 3 years يعني I got like I didn't fast either because I was pregnant with Jawad, yeah, and then breastfeeding. So the first 3 years I didn't fast either, and I lost that connection too. And I love Shahr Ramadan, but I wasn't able to do that. And then when I got back, slowly, it was such a relief for me to be able to fast again. And it was hard. It was so hard. But alhamdulillah, yani, alhamdulillah, I'm able to pray on time. Now my favorite time of the day is 6 a.m. when I wake up to pray the Fajr. I make sure to wake up and pray the Fajr. Because this is my favorite time of the day. And I do talk to Allah about everything, and I ask him, again, استخدمني ولا تستبدلني, to bless me with what he wants. Not like I don't ask for anything specifically, just give me what you want.
You know, I feel like when people sometimes go through difficult times, they might build this animosity towards faith, and it's like, why are you doing this to me?
Yeah.
You know? And the thing about that is, if I ask Maro right now, hey, what you went through, like those dark times, knowing what you know now, you'll be like, yeah, let those dark times come. I know where those dark times are going to have me. And when you look at it in like this wider sense, it's always God's plan that brings you back. Right? So it's like you'll feel bad that, oh man, I had this animosity towards faith because I was going through all of this. But seeing the bigger picture, I needed to go through that difficulty. You know, the bigger the difficulty, the bigger the reward. Right? Yeah, so it's just interesting how we only realize it after we see, oh, this was the bigger picture.
Right. Yeah, subhanallah. We're here to be tested, right?
Right.
And your job is just to listen to Allah and follow your intuition, what Allah wants you to do right now. No, ask Allah all the time. When I first wanted to take the first studio, I made an istikhara, and the ayah was لا تخف دركا ولا تخشى. يعني go ahead, don't fear anything.
Yeah.
And then when I wanted to take the second studio
That you just opened.
Yes. I did an istikhara too, just to make sure like I'm doing the right thing, just to get that confirmation from Allah. And the ayah was فأنا اخترتك فاستمع لما يوحى.
I chose you. So listen.
Surah Taha, I think.
Yeah.
And I cried when I learned about the ayah. I cried, and subhanallah, okay, thank you Allah. So yeah.
How, like, what would you have done to help yourself / what would mothers need to do to help themselves in that dark phase that you were going through?
Well, if you're feeling darkness, like if mothers are feeling the darkness, no, it's not okay, and it's not normal, and you gotta seek help. Because Anna, when I asked other mothers about the way I feel, like, do you feel that way too? They said it's normal. They didn't know what I was talking about, or they felt that way and they thought it's okay. If they tell you you'll get over it, بكرة بيكبروا ولادك وبترتاحي, like those comments don't make us feel better as moms. So what would I have done in the past to feel better or to get better is I would seek the right help. Like I would ask the right person, because not every mom would give you the proper advice that you need. She would just project
what was told to her.
Yes.
Or
yeah, and it's not a good advice for you.
Yeah.
Like they project stuff.
Even like with other people's support, because like as you're saying all of this, my sister's pregnant right now, and I would be heartbroken if she goes through like those periods of darkness. And I just want to know if there's anything like that I would be able to do to help her.
Talk to her, heart to heart, I guess. When give her space, her time to bond with the baby. Yeah. And if she needs help, be there for her. Don't pressure her.
Mm.
Yeah. Pressure is what makes us go through a lot when we're pressured with time and obligations and
Marwa, like nowadays, there's this kind of tear between moms feeling like they should be in the workplace and moms wanting to be stay-at-home mothers. You've kind of lived both lives now
yeah, alhamdulillah.
to fully.
Alhamdulillah. Yes.
Which one would you prefer?
لا, this is my life now. Working mom in a not a stay-home mom, but a present mom. Okay, so and alhamdulillah, I was lucky enough and blessed enough to be able to create a customized job for myself where I'm fully present with my kids and fully present at my work. And honestly, I don't take any jobs that require me to put the time with my kids on hold so I can finish my job. I don't do that. So I set my schedule every season based on my kids' schedule, based on their school schedule. And I just recently turned down a job offer, actually, that pays really well. I turned it down because I was going to be 20 minutes late to pick up my kids from school. And that pickup time is really a special moment between me and my kids where I just go to pick them up and they run to me and I hug them. So the job offer was amazing. And I really wanted to say yes to it, okay? And it was a part-time, like 10 hours a week, and they were paying me really good, okay? And it was going to help me grow as an art instructor, but the disadvantage was going to be I wasn't going to be able to pick up my kids after school. They're either going to have to wait for me for like 20 minutes and be the late mom to pick them up, and they're going to have to stay in the office waiting for me. So after thinking about it, I said I'm not going to lose those moments with my kids because they're going to grow up. And they're going to drive themselves to school later on, and they're going to be independent, and this is my time with them. So I turned down anything that would take me away from my kids.
When it comes to art therapy, when you're looking at a drawing and analyzing it, I was thinking about this yesterday. Do you maybe analyze it and you're a little, and like maybe you see your problems in that painting and that bias kind of turns to you analyzing yourself through this person's drawing, or does that not happen?
You're talking about my own artwork?
No, other people's.
Other people's. So I can read other people's artwork. I can see their personality through their artwork, but I can't see everything because I need the person in front of me so I can ask them, what does this mean? Because every element means something different to the person. So, or every color means something different. Red to you might mean war or blood. Someone else would mean to them passion and love. So it depends on the person, his relationship to the color or the element. But but overall, I can read people's personality through the way they draw and the lines and the shapes. And
Okay, so you do need the person to be in front of you.
Yes. It's a triangular relationship.
Okay.
The therapist, the client, and the artwork.
Why do you think, or do you think the Muslim community needs art therapy more?
To be more expressive. We need to be more expressive. We need to let our emotions be. And we need to be. We need to have more art events in the Muslim community. We need to have more art in our lives. more art activities, and more art therapy, because art shapes the culture. And you see art everywhere, and it's just part of the culture. Why not create art that reflects us? Well, this doesn't answer your question, but
The thing is, Marwa, about this is that like the LGBTQ community kind of took over the art space, you know? And then there's this connotation between art now and those types of individuals, which is sad because it's not supposed to be like that,
I know.
you know? And as Muslims, we kind of don't associate ourselves with that community like that. How do we kind of set our boundaries with taking full advantage of how important art is to us without losing ourselves in the process? Because you've been in the programs, you know, I went to Wayne State. The things that we saw, the things that were required of us is very sad.
Yes.
Because you get put, and people are listening to this, and some people might get upset that I'm saying these things, but this is the reality. And you can talk about your experience in your art program, I can talk about mine, but you can do whatever you want in your life, but shoving it down someone else's throat and someone else's beliefs is a completely different thing, and that's what we will stand against till the day we die.
Right.
And being told to do a project that is related to that scene was something that was regular. It was actually encouraged. Those types of ideas were put ahead of any deeper meaning video or script that I could have ever written.
Yeah.
Those ideas were always the ones that were encouraged. And that's why I kind of understand when people don't want to put their kids in these types of programs.
Right. And I get it now, like why people don't let their kids go to art programs, because I see it everywhere. And it's kind of hard and challenging. That's why I kind of am isolated as like a private, separate business, because everywhere you go in the art industry, it's just rainbow. So there was a lot of LGBTQ people at that time, but it wasn't like a trending thing. But what I went through when I was in the art program, there was a class that I had to take where it's called life drawing, where just naked model would just sit and would have to draw them. And I said, I can't take that class. I will not take it. Although there was a lot of people taking it, Arab, which is all up to them, not judging anybody. But I kept on fighting with the counselor back and forth. Like, I don't want to take it. I can't take it. And he would tell me, you have to take it. It's part of the curriculum. Until I got a paper from the majma, from the sheikh, and like I gave it to them. Like, I can't take this class. So they finally, after like a year and a half of like going back and forth, they let me take an equivalent class. I think it was watercolor 2 or something, and I took that class and they let me graduate. But it was a struggle. And in the hallway, if you go to Old Main, second floor,
Old Main's the arts building.
Yeah.
If someone doesn't.
At Wayne State, yeah.
At Wayne State.
Second floor. I don't know how it looks like right now, but in 2016 and 17, there was a hallway full of nude art. Yeah. So yeah, you'll see a lot in the art program. I didn't know that before I got into the art program, but it is what it is, and we just stand strong in our ground and like keep our boundaries there, and let's just communicate them.
You know, I'm saying this because the thing is, we actually don't care whatever you do in your personal life.
Right.
But the thing is, when I'm at school and the man that's wearing the dress gets his idea, although like the idea might be very shallow, when those ideas go and all the hard work that you do is not even recognized, it's you're not it stopped being fun to be an artist. It would be like, oh, you want your art to be recognized in school, and at school, you know this, you want the instructor, because at that time you would think like, oh, if this is like art, and if an art is very like I could show my art to 100 people, one person might like it, the 99 won't. So when you're in a class and the 99% do like the art, you feel like, oh wow, like I did something that's very beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
And then when you see that in that space, all the ideas that will be applauded were those related to the LGBTQ community, and all the others were kind of like thrown to the side. It's very difficult.
Yeah.
And then you have to work on those projects, or else you don't pass the curriculum, and then you
Right.
can't get your degree.
Right.
And then we live in this idea that we're allowed freedom of speech and freedom to practice our religion, and then when it comes down to it, you feel like, no, I'm not really free to practice my religion,
Right.
because my religion says that I'm not allowed to interact or do these things. So it's just very sad.
It is. It is. And it's getting worse.
How do we as a Muslim community block that out and just focus on art within the confines of our faith? What do you think?
I have to think.
Because it's important.
It is important. Well, if we get enough support, like speaking from a personal experience, if we get enough support from the Muslim community, would be great. We need more support from the Muslim community. We need to be more involved in the Islamic centers. We need to have more art shows that includes us. يعني I really want to be more involved in the art shows in the city or in Detroit or like in the area, but like whenever I see the rainbow sign, I just don't apply because everything is like that now. Like they're everywhere. So this is one of the reasons why I'm not participating in art shows.
Now you're responsible.
Yeah.
As Marwa,
right.
As having an art studio, you just open up your second one, you have all these kids and all these people come.
Yeah.
You're responsible now.
Right. Yeah.
You know, like you just said, people look up to you, look up to the art that you do.
Yeah.
And art is very important, especially for us. We started this talking about the 2006 war and all the trauma that you went through, and just like you went through trauma, most of our community has trauma, and therapy and art therapy could be very real outlets for a lot of people. So
right.
Looking up to someone that is going to do it within the confines of how we see our faith is very important.
Yeah, we need more support. We need more support. Like I say it seriously, we need more support, because I'm kind of upset because I kind of, I did try to reach out to Islamic centers, and they weren't very supportive. They said I could volunteer if I want and donate the supplies if I want to, but they don't pay anybody. And like I don't mind volunteering, I don't mind donating, but the way to communicate with business, like if a business owner comes to you and asks you, hey, can we collaborate on something, because I want the Muslim community to be more involved in the art field, and I want them to have that experience with, like, we say, you can volunteer and donate your supplies. No, I was kind of
you hoped it would be more kind of a collaboration.
Yes, yeah, I want to help the community, but no,
You're just one person at the end of the day.
Yes, I am one person at the end of the day, and we could do a lot if we work together. We could do a lot, and from what I've experienced, the community need and want the art activities. They want it. Alhamdulillah, yani I'm super busy, but I'm one person. I'm the only studio that runs all the art program. Yani alhamdulillah, I'm so grateful for that. But if we work together, يعني قد إيه فينا نعمل.
A lot.
Like if we could do مرسم عاشورائي مثلا, I dream of that. I want to do that. بس لحالي I can't.
What you mean by that? Like a
مرسم عاشورائي, that's something that they do بلبنان وبالعراق in عاشورا مثلا. Throughout the 10 years of the 10 days of عاشورا, we would just gather and paint like paintings about Ashura, and then on the 10th or the 11th day we would have an art show and people would come and see the artwork. And it's a nice thing to do, yani to get young kids involved, teenagers, and we would have like groups like kids, teenagers, adults. It would be beautiful if we could do that. But I am one person again. أو مثلا برمضان we could do something like that, or throughout the year. It doesn't have to be a specific month. يعني I want to do stuff like that Islamically. But they just هيك زعبوني.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Marwa, what's one thing that we didn't talk about today that you think we should have?
There's something that nobody knows about me. Most people don't know about me. Like I dropped out of Fortson when I was in 11th grade, and my GPA was 1.4.
Really?
Not because I wasn't smart, just because I didn't know any English, and it was hard for me as an immigrant to adjust to the new environment. And أنا جاي من الضيعة كنت بعدني. And I didn't know any English. يعني إحنا تعلمنا كل شيء بالفرنسي.
You lived in the village.
أي. So we came here, zero English, nothing. Like I was just thrown at Fortson. I didn't know anything. So my GPA the first semester was 1.4.
That's terrible.
I know. But my GPA now is 3.9.
Yeah.
So 1.4, I didn't get the help I need as a freshman.
Yeah.
So and then I dropped out of Fortson, and then I got my GED and went to college.
Really?
Yes. I didn't graduate high school.
That's a good story.
I know. That's why I want to say it.
This was very insightful. Very insightful. I think a lot of people are going to learn about art therapy, and inshallah, for people who are listening that feel like they can't talk to their therapist, like they feel like they're in this state of darkness, and they want to go out without speaking to anyone, because a lot of us, we like to keep these things to ourselves.
Right.
Maybe on a canvas, it will come out.
It will come out.
And can you just tell people a little bit about your second art studio and what you plan to do with it?
So I just opened my second art studio. I closed the old one because some people thought that I still have both of them open. So we just moved to a bigger space where we have, where it's bigger, double the space. And we're planning to have therapeutic art workshops for women every Thursday, starting September 19. Where they can come and join us for a therapeutic art session, where we paint together with intention of healing and growing and connecting with the inner child. And then we have the Kids Art Club that's going to be regular every Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday. And we'll hope to see you at the studio.
Inshallah. And I'll put all the how they can contact you and everything in the description of this episode. So in case someone's listening and they feel like this is an outlet that they would like to explore, then they would reach out to you and you could help them out with that.
Yeah.
Thank you, Marwa.
Thank you.
Of course.